Well, as many of you know, Nick Wright, media personality, has had to eat his words fairly often when it comes to Lamar Jackson, and join the club. There's plenty on the national scene that have had to do exactly that. Well, as we covered last week, Nick had some comments leading into Lamar Jackson's postseason, and that were these right here. People want that there's going to be this light bulb moment where all of a sudden Lamar is a great postseason player. I don't think that's coming. I think this is who he is. I also think one day he'll win a championship despite it. I think he is as great as people say he is, and he's probably not going to get over this. Nick Wright, leading into Ravens Steelers. Leading out of Ravens Steelers, another Nick Wright tweet who watched Lamar do what he does best, and that was carve up Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin and company had absolutely no answers, and now they're marching on, the Ravens are, to the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills this upcoming Sunday night. Nick watched that game unfold and tweeted this out post-game. Great game by Henry, obviously. More importantly, the first playoff game of Lamar's career where he's looked like regular season Lamar from the opening snap, and overall, his second good playoff game ever, and he cites the 2023 divisional round against Houston. Remember, he had a stellar second half against the Texans. I believe it was tied at half, if memory serves. The tweet finishes up, great sign as the Ravens look awesome heading to Buffalo. So, okay, that's fine. And I agree with all of that. This was far and away Lamar's best full four-quarter postseason performance. The second half against Houston was just generational last year. But if we're talking about full body of work, I would agree. Where I don't agree, and where I think he becomes agenda-driven, does Nick Wright, is stuff like this. It was a 6-game sample size going into this past weekend. It was Lamar's 7th career game in the postseason, one of which he didn't even finish the first time he played Buffalo in January of 2021 because he left the game concussed. This isn't who he is, and that's why all week long leading into this wild card game, we were pounding the table that we choose to lean on what he's done for us lately, or for you lately, rather than what he was in prior postseasons. That's where I was. You want to know where Chris Broussard was? In petty mode earlier today, when he had a whole lot of fun with his co-host, Nick Wright, on First Things First. Get ready for this clip. Unfortunately, I had to throw a screenshot over it, so it's going to be audio only, but don't worry. I made sure to pick the proper screenshot. And if you want to go check out the full video, you can do so by going to my Twitter, where there isn't any copyright. Because of YouTube, had to throw a screenshot over this. The next 3 minutes is a wild ride. You will hear Chris in epic form. You will hear an a cappella group. You will see him in a Ravens customized robe. You will see him and hear him getting after the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been sent into oblivion. And most of all, you will hear him taking a victory lap, rather satisfyingly, over his co-host, Nick Wright. Here is Mr. Broussard.
Brew, did Lamar silence his playoff doubters?
Before I get to Lamar and the Ravens, let me tell you something about the Steelers. What I like about the Steelers is that they watch First Things First. Mm-hmm. And because they watch First Things First, for the last 2-3 months, they have heard my friend, the great Nick Wright.
Thank you.
Talk about how they had Lamar Jackson's number.
Yeah. Well,
how he was even scared of them.
He said it.
And then when you throw in that they listen to Nick talk about Lamar's woes in the playoffs, how when the postseason comes, he goes on his road. He chokes. So because of that, the Steelers went into the Ravens' house feeling a bit chesty, thinking that they were going to get a diminished Lamar Jackson and pull off the upset. But guess who else watches first things first?
Ooh.
The Ravens.
Oh.
And the Ravens knew. They saw Bruce's marching orders. And boy, did they carry them out to a T. So when the Steelers showed up, they grabbed him by the back of the neck, pulled him in the house.
Pulled him in the house.
Said, fetch me my robe. Turn on the big screen, The Wire. And then get in the kitchen.
Yikes.
And get me a sandwich with some chips. And of course, I gotta wash it down with a soda pop. It was music to my ears.
Where's the food?
Said he's the smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
That man brew.
That man brew.
The smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
That man brew.
That man brew.
Jordan's on his feet.
Jordan's on his feet.
Shade so sweet.
Shade so sweet.
Versace roll from there.
Versace roll from there.
Swagger don't quit.
Swagger don't
Remember when I told you
When I told
what
you
the Ravens would do.
Ravens would do.
The smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
And that man brew.
That man brew. Brew.
Oh, he's the smartest man. Now it's time for a snack. Put it in my hand. Make me a sandwich. Soda pop. Don't forget the chips, please. Don't forget the chips. No mayo. Oh, fellas, that man brew. Brew, brew.
I mean, those
Oh,
guys are
yeah,
just the best. Those guys.
Soda pop.
Legitimately a great song.
I mean, it was really great.
Fantastic.
Brew, would you like me to go?
I'm going to be humming that
more?
all the rest of the show.
I don't blame you. I don't know that I had to say smartest in the room
That
as
felt
many
like a
times.
shot.
Look, and I did not.
Felt
They
like a
made
shot.
that up themselves after
Okay.
observing the show.
All right, no, but in all seriousness,
It's
okay,
all you.
Okay,
I'm done.
I'm done. I am done. Listen, whoever hired that a cappella group to come in and dominate that segment, probably on the producer side of things, as you guys know, when it comes to TV, behind the scenes, the real MVPs, whoever hired that a cappella group, who off the cuff or at least studied up on the show and was able to put together that customized song for Chris Broussard, that might deserve an Emmy. And if it ain't going to be a national Emmy, it's sure as hell going to be an Emmy in this city. I'll tell you that right now. How about the Wire reference? How about the a cappella group? How about the robe? How about the petty victory lap that Chris took throughout that? That was hysterical. And I can promise you one thing. I would have to think we're definitely going to be replaying that segment multiple times this week and probably again tomorrow on the Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. So well done there. That is some elite television entertainment. And Chris Broussard, next time he's in Baltimore, I can't envision him ever paying for a drink at any establishment here locally. So well done. That stuff is entertaining. It's been far from entertaining in Pittsburgh these days. I guess if you're a Steelers fan. For those of us in the Baltimore area, perhaps you find this to be elite entertainment. The last time the Steelers won a playoff game under Mike Tomlin, you got to go back to 2016. And that is the 2016 season. It was January of 2017 to be exact, where they took down the Kansas City Chiefs. 18-16 was the final. In the postseason since then, you can see it's been utterly disastrous. And of course, the Ravens just handed them their latest loss. Mike Tomlin is 0 for his last 6 tries in the month of January in the postseason. 28-14 was the final over the weekend on Saturday in a game that really was never in doubt from a Baltimore perspective. Dan Orlovsky did not mince words whatsoever when it comes to reviewing the tape of what the Steelers left out there on the field in Baltimore the other night.
agree with that point, but I want to bring it back to, and hearing both you, Shannon, and Stephen A. talk about it right now, my mind goes to, is Mike Tomlin a little bit like Jerry Jones in regards to he is an unbelievably loyal person, and that at times when it comes to his business of football, it might hinder them a little bit because the loyalty to Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
What's that?
I apologize. I thought you said Jimmy Johnson. You said Jerry Jones. My apologies. Go ahead.
Yes, the loyalty to some people, because he values the relationship so much, it might hinder them as a football team. Because like when I hear George Pickens talk, one, I don't like the fact that he does it, but he knows. And I don't like the fact that he does it because Mike Tomlin has had his back. Mike Tomlin has stood by him on a consistent basis and tried to develop the man. And I want to see a little bit of like George paying that forward in some of those situations. I'll say this, Stephen A., because you're a Steelers fan. That tape this past weekend's tough to watch, man. It's as tough a Steelers tape that I've ever seen, all across the board. The offense, the defense, the fight, the effort, the detail, the consistency, the being on the same page. It was bad. And last week, you and I got into it in regards to Mike Tomlin. And I said, you're nuts if you're the Steelers and sitting there going, well, let's move on from Mike Tomlin. I still feel that way, but I also have to sit here and say, it's hard to watch that tape and not think something has to change. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Yes, the quarterback is very much so a part of that conversation, but it's hard to watch that tape and you go, yeah, we're just going to run it back as is and we'll be fine. I don't agree with that.
Ooh, it's going to be a loud and noisy offseason around Pittsburgh. So if you felt like that was the case around John Harbaugh earlier this year when all the passing defense issues were taking place, just think about what the Steelers fan base is feeling entering this offseason with clearly change needing to be on the horizon. Now, which tune, I see the chat, which tune do you prefer? Orlovsky shredding what Pittsburgh's all about? Or the a cappella group that First Things First just hired? You guys are literally begging me to play it again. I guess I better.
Brew, did
Why the
Lamar
hell not?
silence his playoff?
Where's the food?
Said he's the smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
That man Brew.
That man Brew.
The smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
That man Brew.
That man Brew.
Jordan's on his feet.
Jordan's on his feet.
Shade so sweet.
Shade so sweet.
Versace wrote from there.
Versace wrote from there.
Swagger don't quit.
Swagger don't
Remember when I told you
When I told
what
you
the Ravens would do.
Ravens would do.
The smartest in the room.
Smartest in the room.
And that man Brew.
That man Brew. Brew.
Oh, he's the smartest man. Now it's time for a snack. Put it in my hand. Make me a sandwich. Soda pop. Don't forget the chips. Please don't forget the chips. No mayo. Oh, fellas, that man Brew. Brew, brew. Oh, yeah, yes. Soda pop.
Legitimately a great song.
I mean, it was really great.
Every time you listen to it, like something else pops. For me, that time it was the no mayo, like the real high octave. That was incredible. I'm telling you right now, that will be replayed for weeks, especially if they make a run right now. And I kind of want that a cappella group to like narrate my life one day. I feel like Sarah and I should bring them in virtually or something and serenade us. By the way, Sarah and I are considering doing an off-season trip to Columbus, meaning me visit her and her family in Columbus. We do an in-person show. It's really for business purposes to like just kind of turn off the phones one day and get into a conference center and just work on a bunch of different things. But maybe we should bring the a cappella group to Columbus. I may have to bring that up to her. Anyway, good stuff on them. Ian Rappaport tweeted out at the end of our show earlier today, just in case you missed this. The Patrick Queen, he finished with 10 tackles, 6 of which were solo on Saturday night. He played despite having a really bad bout with the flu. He received 4 IV bags before the game and went out there and played. And what do you know? The photo that's used here post-game by Rappaport is he and Lamar embracing post-game. Well, let's hope that chin strap, let's hope that helmet keeps Lamar out of harm's way when it comes to potentially contracting. Knock on wood. I'm knocking. I promise I'm knocking. Whatever PQ had. A lot's being made of this, of course, online, because of course it's Lamar that's hugging PQ in their post-game embrace, which did last a couple seconds, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I got to give ups to PQ for making himself available and playing through that. Unfortunately, for his sake, it won't go down as a Jordan flu game. He was in rough shape, got caught in the wash more often than not. And obviously, Derrick Henry and the Ravens ran all over his defense for 299 yards. So not exactly a memorable one for PQ, but hopefully he's doing all right.